Good afternoon. I'm Sonja Clarke from First Pathway Partners. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And I would very much like to welcome Karen Lee Pollak. She's in the United States in Fort Lauderdale, also an ex-South African. So Karen Lee, thank you very much for joining us today. If you would like to tell us a little bit about yourself, please, before we kick off the presentation.
Thank you, Sonja. Thank you very much for having me today. As Sonja said, my name is Karen Lee Pollak. I have an immigration boutique. The main office is located in Dallas, Texas. We have a satellite office in Fort Lauderdale. I grew up in South Africa. I went to Wits, so yay Wits. So I'm very familiar with South Africans. I have been practicing immigration law for at least 20 years. I don't want to date myself. And have been in the EB-5 arena for that long. So we've seen a lot of changes. Most of them in the last 2 years have been really good. Processing times are improving. So the law has about 2 years ago changed for the better. There is much more scrutiny with this program. And there also are some benefits which have changed, which I will go through when I go through the process with you about the EB-5 program. The first thing I always tell clients or potential clients is if you are going with a regional center investment, you really do need to vet the regional center that you're going with. You need to ask them how long they have been in business, what's their success rate with the first stage of the EB-5 program, which is filing a petition for investor called a 526E, or also what is their success rate with lifting conditions on permanent residency, which is the I-829 stage of the green card. And we will go through each of the stages, but it's very important that you go with a regional center that has success rate not only on the front end, but on the back end, because the investor is very reliant on documents from the regional center to lift conditions on permanent residency, which occurs 2 years after receiving the conditional green card. So I wanted to first go through with you the life cycle of the EB-5 program. So I'm sharing my screen, and I hope everyone can see it. The first step is when you are considering an EB-5 project, you need to get as much information about the project from the regional center. You obviously will choose an attorney to help you get through the project and to get your green card. The attorney will also get a lot of information from you. The main thing that you are looking for with a regional center project when you're filing from the investor's point of view is immigration is very, very concerned about how you got the money to invest and where you got the money from. So I'm not sure when you were children, if you did those coloring in books that are dot to dot traces, and a trace is a picture, that is how USCIS or United States Citizenship and Immigration looks at your source of funds, where you got the money from, and how you earned it. In most cases, that is what their lawyer is going to be most interested in obtaining from the investor, is that source of funds information. Because when the application is filed, the attorney will draft a very detailed memorandum which provides information on where the investor got the source of funds from and traces it all the way to payment to the regional center. The attorney memorandum will also include detailed information about the project and will include various project documents, including subscription agreements, private placement offering memorandums, partnership agreements, and things like that. So that is the information that the lawyer will gather from the investor. The lawyer will also gather information from the actual project, what the project is about, and so on. Before a project has to be approved by the government. That can take some time to approve. Not always are projects approved before they are offered by a regional center. But in most cases, the regional center will file an application to approve the project and may offer concurrently the project to investors. Sonja will talk to you a little bit more about the project's first pathway partners has, and one of those projects has already been pre-approved, which is excellent information, so that when immigration gets the investors' documents, they have an approval notice on the project. So really all immigration will be doing at that stage is they won't even have to look at vetting the project. The project has been approved. They will only be looking, well, not only, but will primarily be looking at the investor source of funds. So going through the process, the first stage is you will choose an attorney who's going to help you with the EB-5 project, and hopefully it's an attorney that is experienced in EB-5 application. They are very nuanced, and you really do need somebody who has many years of experience with that. The attorney can introduce you to various regional centers, or the other way around, the regional center can introduce you to various attorneys who can assist you with the project. Once we have obtained all the documents from the regional center and from the investor, the lawyer will prepare what is called a 526E petition by regional center investor. That will be filed with immigration. Generally, we are seeing anywhere from 9 months to 2 years for these petitions to be approved, depending on what type of project you have invested in. The next stage will depend on whether you are in the United States or outside the United States. If you are in the United States, the law has recently changed, which allows you to file the second stage, called an adjustment of status. You can file that with the 526 petition. So a lot of people come into the United States on other types of visas, and then they will file the 526E petition and the adjustment of status petition at the same time. If they file it concurrently, then the investor is allowed to stay in the United States and wait for the green card. They will be issued work authorization after approximately 6 months and a travel permit after approximately 9 months. So the changes in the law happened about 2 years ago. Previously, you had to wait for that 526 petition to be approved before you could adjust your status. So that sped up things significantly, in that if you're planning on coming to reside in the United States shortly, you can come in potentially on a student visa or on a visitor's visa. 90 days later, you can file the 526 immigrant petition by regional center investor concurrently with your adjustment status application. You'll get a work permit and you'll get a travel permit, and you can wait until the conditional green card is approved. If you are outside the United States, you will have to wait for the petition to be approved, and then the case will be transferred to the National Visa Center, where we will go through the consular process. We will file a different type of application called the DS-260 immigrant petition, and then we will file documents with the consulate, and eventually we will be scheduled for an interview at the consulate in Johannesburg. The consulate in Johannesburg is the only consulate that does immigrant investor visa interviews. So that going consular processing will take a little bit longer. If you go that route, you still are free to come in and out of the United States on a visitor visa. Once the 526 is approved, which depends on whether it's a rural project or regular project, take anywhere from 9 months to 2 years, you will get what's called a conditional green card. That green card is valid for 2 years. 1 year and 9 months before expiration of the conditional green card, you will file a final application called an 829 application to lift conditions on the green card. At that time, we submit a whole lot of new documents, primarily provided by the regional center, to show that jobs have been created and that the project has been developed or substantially developed. At this stage, you are really at the mercy of the regional center to provide the right type of documents. So it's really, as I said, important that you go with a regional center with a track record. The I-829 will then be adjudicated and you will be given a full green card. 5 years after receiving the initial green card, so 5 years after you receive the conditional green card, you can apply for citizenship and you can become a United States citizen. The amount of the investment, as you may know, is if you're investing in a regional center, the amount of the investment is $800,000. The regional center then charges an administrative fee to administer the investment through the lifetime of the investment. If you are investing in your own EB-5 direct investment business, the amount of the investment is $1,050,000 if you're investing in a regular area. If you're investing in a high unemployment or rural area, the amount is $800,000. So that is the procedure for EB-5 investing.
Thank you, Karen. Is that the end of your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much for that. As Karen Lee mentioned, we've already got approval from the government for our project, which is the I-956F, which we're really excited about. And that is really, really important in terms of your immigration process, so, and your documentation. So just to clarify, there are 2 pillars in the process. The one is the immigration process, and the other is the project process. And someone like Karen Pollak, which we've worked very closely with, and Manuel, which is our Vice President of Global Business Development, has known Karen Lee for many years. I don't know, I think it's 10 years or something like that, Karen. 10 years. Okay. And yeah, so, you know, we've got a really good track record. I mean, we've got 100% success rate in terms of, you know, project securing permanent green cards, and then also in terms of our investors on their return of capital. You know, just a little bit going backwards, just a step. Our company was founded in 2008. The EB-5 visa program is a government program that started in the 1990s. And it was all about economic development and job creation. That's why it's so important in the process that you have to be sure that at least 10 jobs per investor is created. Otherwise, you're not going to finish the cycle. But we're happy to say we've got a 27% extra buffer in terms of job creation. And I'll touch on the project a little bit later. I mean, we've done over $1 billion worth of economic development, and then obviously return full capital contributions to investors on multiple projects. I'd like to just mention Mr. Bob Kraft. He's our chairman and our CEO at First Pathway Partners, our founder. He's very respected in the industry. He served as chairman of II-USA. And it's important to note because all our competitors and our peers in the market actually voted for Mr. Kraft, you know, to lead the industry. And we're also very proud to say with the Reform and Integrity Act that was proposed, you know, to the US government, Mr. Kraft and II-USA were very integral in that, and to secure, you know, to make the EB-5 program a lot more secure and really reform the program and take it forward and get it reauthorized, which actually happened. I think it's reauthorized till the 27th of September, something like that, 2027. And it's also important to note that the EB-5 program has to go through the Senate process where it has to be reapproved. And then they look at that investment amount of $800,000 and it may not stay at 800,000 US dollars. So there's no guarantee that the EB-5 program will be around forever. And there's no guarantee that it may stay at 800,000 US dollars. So it's important to note it's a really good opportunity if you want to get permanent residency, your green card, you know, for you and your whole family. It covers main applicant, spouse, and all children under the age of 21. So, you know, that's why it's so important, like Karen Lee said, to invest into a project, or at least into a regional center, or with a regional center into a project that you know that your funds are going to be safe and secure, that the regional center is looking after you, looking after your investment. And that's what we do. So, you know, in our particular project, Kaia by Outdoor Citizen, we are reaching already stabilization after year 3. And we've got in year 4, you're eligible for your funds returned with 2 one-year extensions. I'll touch on that a little bit later. Then I also want to, Karen mentioned the concurrent filing, which is important. And then conditional green card, the 10 jobs I've mentioned. Okay, what you do and what you don't have to have. So you have to go right back and satisfy the government that those funds were lawfully acquired. And you can live, you don't have to live full-time in the US, and you also don't have to speak English. But I mean, obviously you're going to have your consular interview, so you need to be able to answer their questions. Am I right, Karen Lee? You need to have some form of ability to be able to. Yes. Okay.
You've got to be able to answer the questions fully bilingual.
Thank you for that. Yeah. And then also you need to pass a criminal background check, and you have to have a desire to want to live in the US. Then also I want to mention the EB-5, the benefits of having an EB-5 visa as opposed to any other visa. You know, if you want to, for instance, as a student, go on an F1 visa, obviously Karen Lee can assist you with that. But if you're looking at an EB-5 visa, it leads to permanent residency and a green card. And it's important to note because if you're on an EB-5 visa and you're a student, you're actually going to pay a lot less for your tuition in the United States. And then you've got the ability of having your family with you, your siblings with you. You know, tuition, you can save anything from $40,000 plus because you won't be recognized as an international student. You've got also access to healthcare benefits. And you'd also be eligible for grants. If you want to open up your own business, you can stay anywhere in the US. You're not limited in any way. Then I want to just touch on our project, Kaia by Outdoor Citizen. And I would just like to play the video that we've got. I'm just going to share screen there quickly, just so that you get an idea, and then I can jump into the project.
That moment, setting foot on this property, it was very clear. We knew it was the one. There's incredible cliff faces that just kind of go on and on for miles. Transporting yourself to a place where you can breathe freely. Culturally, we're very disconnected. And so there is a need to want to seek out places for reconnection. And nature holds that power. Outdoor Citizen is a luxury hospitality brand redefining adventure travel within the United States. We are building in high demand remote destinations in areas that have, high visitorship, whether they're national park regions or just really beautiful landscapes. Where we really are excited to live is at the intersection between adventure and wellness. Really, there isn't anything quite like it. We designed this experience with the guest in mind. So at Kaia, we have 40 keys, rooms, as well as houses, and we designed each unit with a lot of attention and detail around privacy and maximizing views, because the views here are spectacular. We have communal spaces that are exceptional and worlds within worlds. We've got a main building that supports 3-meal restaurant, a wellness cove that has an incredible menu of offerings, and a barn that hosts our activities. That really brings together the food, the sort of the wellness component and the adventure component all into one. Luxury travel globally is big, and it's only getting bigger. In the United States, there's far more demand than exists supply. There are, folks at the upper end of the spectrum and sort of the lower end of the spectrum. We believe that we can occupy that white space in the middle.
It's an amazing sight. You feel like you are the only person on earth. We've accomplished in the last 12 years 25 new hotel developments, 15 national awards for Marriott and Hilton. The most recent one that we accomplished this year with our team being the most innovative developer for Marriott.
What they've done here at T2 is the story that I see from so many of our investors, and that I see them all aspiring to.
One of our mantras is that we like to be involved in and control the development process from beginning to end, and to make sure that we are delivering the very highest investment return. We're going to bring that passion to this Outdoor Citizen venture.
Now more than ever is a really great time for EB-5 investors. In 2022, they passed a law which provided additional benefits to investors. Under this new law, there are set-aside visas that are specific to rural investors, and those really allow a rural investor to get in a period of just months, whereas previously we were looking at years.
And the incentive for the investors, they can gain access quickly to the United States, much more quickly than they could in the past. They can do so with assurance, and it's a high quality project. It's unbelievable how successful these operations are, and the demand in the United States internationally for people to travel, to pamper themselves in a rural setting that is like you're just all by yourself. It's remarkable.
First and foremost, it comes down to people. First Pathway seems to have all the right ingredients.
To have something like Outdoor Citizen cross your desk, we felt immediately for our investors would be a perfect opportunity, not only to get their green card, but ultimately to make sure it accomplishes all their goals through the EB-5 process.
More than the track record, they have a passion for this project and they believe in what we're doing so deeply.
Our review of resources in the industry very quickly led us to First Pathway. They can communicate really well to the investors about the excitement of this opportunity. And we have a lot of confidence in their abilities to take us from where we are to opening a beautiful resort.
Over 50% of ultra high net worth individuals are now residing here in the United States. Now is the perfect time for a project just like this.
Thanks so much. And I'm sure you all enjoyed that. So, yeah, project in Utah, it's a rural project. Okay, so rural processing is expedited processing. So Karen Lee can tell you all about that and how it works. Like Jennifer Shearer, our Senior Vice President in the video just said, it used to be years to be able to get your application processed, and it's down to months. The latest information we got, and we just had a meeting about it last week, was an average of 8 months. And it could be less and it could be coming down, but we are speaking about an average. So looking between maybe 7 to 9 months to be realistic in getting your approval. And just to go back to the project. So the project is a $66 million US project. The equity is just under 14 million US dollars. And we are acting as the lender. So the EB-5 funds, which is 52,800,000, is raised, and we are the senior loan, which means that we are the most favorable and in the best position in terms of a loan like this. At the end of the day, there are guarantees that have come through as well. You know, we can talk to you in depth about the guarantees in terms of the loan process and how that is structured. Just to give you a little bit of background on Utah and KNAV, it's close to Lake Powell and the Grand Canyon. So those are very high tourist destinations, and there are 5 million plus tourists in the area annually. And I mean, if you look at our room rate, we can go through that as well. Our room rate is really, I mean, for ultra high luxury resort like Kaia by Outdoor Citizen, you're paying a lot less than what the average accommodation would be in the area. And we can give you those statistics as well. And also what's really exciting is the stabilization of this project after only 3 years. So yes, I would like to speak to everybody more in terms of EB-5 and your investor goals. And Karen Lee, myself, and Manuel would gladly set up an online consultation with you. And we would really like to welcome you to reach out on email. You can WhatsApp us, you can call us anytime and reach out with any of your questions, and we can take you through the whole process in a lot more detail. And in closing thoughts, Karen Lee, anything from you?
I just wanted to emphasize this particular project that you've seen is a rural project. It has already been approved. So processing times are about 9 months, we've seen with rural projects. When USCIS gets your actual application, the main thing they're going to be considering is your source of funds, as the project has already been approved.
Thank you very much for that, Karen Lee. And we just want to thank everybody here in Durban and also Connect Digital that assisted us in putting the event together at the Alton today. And yes, we're waiting for any of your questions. Come online anytime. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you.